Hello, and welcome to another live reading session. Now, today I'm going to be reading the prologue to Jordan's Arrow, which is book 2 in the Jordan of Algorand series. Now, something special about this, since it is book 2 in the series, if you have not read Jordan's World, book 1 yet, then I feel obligated to give you a spoilers ahead warning because when you start getting into book 2, even though it technically could function as a standalone novel, it is part of the overall saga. And so in listening to this, you will get some spoilers into what's going on with Jordan and the people surrounding her. So keeping that in mind, we will go ahead and start the reading. Now, normally I would do the prologue and chapter 1, but in books 2 and 3, the prologue is as long as a full chapter, and there's a reason for that. And you'll see once I start getting into it. So let's go ahead and do it. All right, so this is the book I'm talking about, Jordan's Arrow. And we'll start with the quote. "The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting." Sun Tzu. Also, this book is divided into 5 acts. Act 1 is called Cause and Effect. Oh, coffee. Prologue. Erica Melendez had been living among the Ulvar for nearly a year already. She had grasped their language enough to have moderate conversations and start learning people's names, occupations, and family relations. Kalami, the woman who had helped and guided Erica since her arrival, had made her welcome among her household. Her husband, village leader Daraz, and most of the village showed a mixture of pleasantness and wariness, with certain degrees of insincerity. Even so, they had allowed her to become a member of their community and were trying to get to know her. High-quality, vibrant clothing was handmade for her, which looked and felt like fine silk. A new hut was built for her as well. It was beautified by a lush flower bed near its entrance. She did not know all the types of these remarkable blooms, but their petals radiated lively shades of red, orange, white, and lavender. Inside the hut, Ulvar artists had made bright and cheerful paintings directly on the walls and laid a plush bird feather mattress on the wooden floor. The shelves against the opposite wall were stocked with separate bowls of fruit and water. A stone chest was filled with more of the beautiful clothing which had been made for or given to her. The wide oval window allowed both day and moon's light inside. 2 wooden chairs and a table lent themselves for conversation or a meal. Each day, someone would bring Erica fresh supplies of fruit, vegetables, and dried meats to snack on between the community meals in the morning and evening. Yet, without the presence of friends or regular visitors, the hut usually made Erica feel lonely. Sometimes Erica's main problems were with herself. She didn't entirely trust her own perceptions. It wasn't just the physical changes she'd experienced, gaining blue hair, icy-colored eyes, and the strange gemstones fused to her neck. Ever since the first day she'd appeared near this village, it felt like she was a second or 2 out of phase with everything and everyone else. This sensation didn't feel like an illness. Sometimes she could filter it out or ignore it, but it was always there. Having so much time to herself gave Erica opportunity to reflect upon her life and how she'd come to be here. She thought about her parents, how their marital strife had led to a prison sentence for her mother and suicide for her father. She relived the regrets of not fully committing to her fiancé and how it had ended their relationship prematurely. The culmination of these events had been sufficient reason for her to forsake the world of her birth, leaping through a spatial portal which led to Algorand. After being separated from Jordan Lewis on arrival, Erica wondered why she hadn't located her yet. Jordan told Erica she'd traveled across nearly all of Algorand just to find a possible way back to Earth, and she'd succeeded in that. Didn't Jordan already have knowledge about this world's tribes? Wasn't locating a lost friend just as important as finding a way home? Erica instinctively felt like Jordan was alive and well, and yet where was she? Erica wanted to be fair towards Jordan. It seemed like a big planet, and she didn't know how far away Jordan was. Did Jordan return to the tribe she knew? Did she get sent to another part of the world the way Erica had? There were plenty of things to consider, but no ways to confirm any answers yet. Despite her efforts, she found herself resenting her childhood companion more often than not. Someday she would find Jordan herself, and when she succeeded, she would demand answers. One evening at twilight, Kalami introduced Erica to Vakar, the head of the Ulvar warriors. Kalami explained to them that Vakar would essentially become Erica's bodyguard. He had just finished training some new recruits from the village. The meeting was only semi-formal, and Vakar was still drenched in perspiration from his exertions and breathing deeply. At almost a foot taller than her, he was very muscular and handsome, sporting long green hair, shaved on the right side like the rest of these rose-pink-colored people. This man was somewhat reserved, not shy, but deliberately quiet. She could tell that he was trying to assess her in some way. She was certain that Kalami was encouraging the two of them to become mates. Erica wasn't ready for such a commitment. However, she had to admit to herself that looking at this glistening and robust male, the idea was both flattering and tempting. Whenever Vakar did speak, it was brief and with sincerity. Erica had sensed a certain reluctance from him towards her, but since she felt the same, she didn't think much of it. She imagined that the expanse that loomed between them, being from two different worlds' cultures, could lessen over time. As things stood now, they were barely more than polite acquaintances, and that suited her just fine. During one of their early chats, Kalami had asked if there was anyone else who looked like Erica. She had even used the word Snowfire and gestured towards Erica's blue hair and the gemstones fused to her neck. It had felt like Kalami was probing Erica for knowledge about the mythical figure. Erica happily talked about Jordan and how she had similar features, but she still had a poor grasp of Ulvar words. Erica realized afterwards that she must have sounded to Kalami like she didn't understand the question and was rambling on about her close friend. Kalami tried to be polite, but was clearly disappointed in the outcome. The topic was never brought up again. Erica desperately wanted to know what her physical changes meant. Who was Snowfire really? Snowfire had saved Jordan's life by transferring her own blood, and it had changed her. Had Snowfire done the same to Erica? Once Erica was more fluent in the language, Kalami brought her to meet with Daraz. As village leader, he had offered to answer any questions she might have. Like others she had seen, she slightly lowered her head and did not look directly in his eyes. She kept her arms relaxed and her feet together. Her phrases were short and to the point. She knew he was a busy man and did not have time for lengthy dialogues. "I am thankful for your time, great leader," Erica humbly offered. "This meeting is long overdue, Erica." "Relax," Daraz replied with a magnanimous smile. "Ask me anything." Inside the leader's chamber, a large hut with a wooden floor and decorative weapons displays on the walls, Daraz was sitting on a grand wooden chair that resembled a throne. He wore his leader robe, which was made from animal furs and embedded with valuable-looking gemstones. Kalami stood proudly at his side. Why am I important to the Ulvar? A fine question. Good, good. He clapped his hands joyfully. Erika, did you know that you fell from the sky to us? No, great leader, she responded, her eyes widening and her stance stiffening. You told Kalami you are from another world, yes? Yes, great leader. Derez stood up then and began to almost strut around the room. Under any other circumstances, Erika might have allowed herself to be entertained. On Earth, this behavior would be ridiculous. We feel that you were sent to the Ulvar, like a gift from the twin stars themselves, Derez continued, stopping and swinging around towards Erika, lifting his hands and his eyes towards the ceiling. And it is our duty to protect, treasure, and honor you. He turned away from Erika and towards his throne. I do not understand, great leader. I may be from another world, and maybe I fell from the skies, Erika interjected. But would you tell me, does this special honor have anything to do with Snowfire? Derez froze like a statue, but Kalami could not prevent her mask of calm from being briefly shattered by Erika's inquiry. Erika was not sure why it alarmed her so much, but it didn't take a genius to understand that they were hiding something. Derez slowly faced Erika, his facade returning. He attempted to regain the upper hand. It is true that you resemble that figure of another people's legend, he declared confidently. But that holds no special meaning for us. We are simply glad to have you with us. You are unique, and we only want you to feel welcome among the Ulvar. I do, great leader, Erika added quickly, and I would like a more active role in the village. My time passes slowly, and I am sometimes lonely. Derez's smile returned. He took Kalami's hand in his and looked at her. Teach her our written language, and see if perhaps she might make a good teacher for the children, Derez commanded. I feel they might enjoy learning from our Erika, yes? Kalami's eyes broadcast that she did not approve of either idea, but she complied nonetheless. Of course, great leader, she acquiesced. I will make arrangements to give her the necessary instruction. Excellent, my heart path. Then Derez returned his attention to Erika. She was surprised by his solution, but not disappointed. Will these things please Erika? He asked, looking sincere. Yes, great leader, she responded, giving the traditional bow with a circular hand gesture as she rose back up. Thank you for your time. Derez smiled and nodded. Then Kalami quietly led Erika out of the chamber. That night, Erika quietly exited her hut and tiptoed stealthily into the nearby woods. It was made more difficult by the intoxication-like symptoms she constantly felt. Even so, she pushed past it. She was fed up with the facade from everyone. It had to end. I have spent too much time here already, she thought, ironically, in Ulvar. I do not know what they want with me, but it does not feel right. And I've got to find Jordan. She was frightened at the prospect of leaving the village, but excited and determined to make a life for herself away from them. Her vision quickly adjusted to the moon's light, and she tried to listen out for any predators. Then she just stopped. She could not move any parts of her body except her eyes and mouth. In front of her, there was a blue and white glow that hovered in midair. That radiating light formed into a woman with long blue hair and ice blue eyes. This had to be Snowfire. The figure before her said nothing but was grim and foreboding. Her eyes conveyed a mixture of anger and sadness. I know who you are! What do you want? Erika shouted in frustration. Why have you stopped me? The spirit of the mountain said nothing. She just looked at Erika with some degree of understanding, considering the situation. Then she pointed in the direction that Erika had come from. You want me to go back? Why? Snowfire did not answer Erika. She just continued to insist, unmoving. Erika struggled to move forward to no avail. However, when she tried to turn around, she could move. Snowfire literally would not let her leave the area. She made one more thrust forward, even knowing what would happen. She screamed as she struggled with all her might against Snowfire's invisible force. All her strength, pride, and anger made no difference. In the end, she collapsed to her knees, spent and defeated, wanting to cry. Despite the outcome of this encounter, Erica would try again sometime soon. She had to, whether she succeeded or not. Weeks passed, and Erica and Vakar started becoming accustomed to their new roles. Erica strolled across the land one morning wearing flowing robes of blue with silver, her wrists adorned with bejeweled bracelets. Vakar was ever at her side. She drank in the beauty of the subalpine forest with amazement and appreciation, its bright blue grasses and flowering plants in every color imaginable gently danced in the afternoon breeze, lifting her spirits. Small creatures with long, thin legs, tan fur, and light brown wings fed near a stream which snaked toward the snow-covered mountains in the distance. The air was cold but fairly tolerable to her. The suns were on full display in the near-cloudless green-tinted sky. This day, Vakar's expression was nearly unreadable. She tried to start conversation with him numerous times, asking about his family or his role as warrior, but his answers were always abrupt and in few words, giving her little room to develop a dialogue. His eyes mostly looked ahead, except when he was making sure she was keeping pace with him. He was treating the experience of being in her presence like a duty only. He always stayed within a foot or two of her, ever ready to protect her from any threat with his daggers or raw strength. At least he never complained. I am not familiar with all of Algorand's seasons, since I'm always so, sheltered and protected, Erica began. Is it always cold like this? Does it get warmer? This is the warmest time. It will become much colder in the coming moon turns, Vakar responded, his words curt and dry. I think Algorand would make Colorado seem warm. Colorado? Vakar attempted to repeat. A village on your world? Erica smiled with her eyes, taking care not to laugh. Well, it's part of a vast land there. It is where I was born. He turned to look at her as the subject did interest him. Do you miss that place? He asked. I do not, she responded. I chose to leave there, and I do not regret that decision. I see. That is good. Many of the villagers already consider you Ulvar. Erica gave a wan smile. Thanks. Concerning the change of seasons, I will have our best clothes maker prepare proper robes and dresses for you before the colder days arrive. That is very kind. Vakar grunted in acknowledgement. You are the leader of all the warriors, Erica noted. You teach them exercises and stretches, yes? To help them become better at what they do? Yes. Do you think you could teach me? Erica asked, her enthusiasm evident, pleading with her eyes. I think it would help me. I'm not very active, and the village gives me so much food and drink. I know I was not a thin woman before when I arrived, but now... Without thinking about it, she rested one of her hands upon her widened stomach. Lowering her gaze and slightly blushing as she awaited his reply, surely Vakar could see how self-conscious she was, and how awkward it was for her to make this request. Could he see her need for training? To instruct her? Had he been ordered not to? I would, if it were permitted, Vakar replied stiffly, his eyes looking at the trees ahead. But I am not allowed to risk injury to you. Erica lowered her head, feeling obstructed and dejected once more. I should just accept my walks and shut up, she scowled. I would not have worded it that way, but I get it, she interrupted, and she sighed. A short while later, Erica and Vakar walked through the stone archway which marked the west entrance to the Ulvar village. She glimpsed the simple but enduring efficiency of the huts. Each was a single story, but varied in width and function. Some were for storage, but most were for families. With Erica now inside the safety of the community, Vakar excused himself as he saw Darez walking nearby. With a nod, Erica let him go. She watched the two men walk off, no doubt to discuss village business or security. Vakar followed Darez into the leader chamber. He closed and secured the door behind them. "The princess did not seem very pleased upon your return," Darez scoffed. "Did you say or do something to upset her?" "I answered her questions with the information you provided me," Vakar replied. "Can I help it if she did not like it?" Vakar did not bother to hide his resentment from Darez about being forced to comply with the rules and instructions he was given. He and Darez had been friends for many years before Darez came to power, so Vakar felt he could be honest, even blunt, if he needed to. "She would not be focused on what she cannot do if you shared your heart and pursued her. Those were my orders to you," Darez fumed. "If you had followed them, she would only be concentrating on being your mate and the mother of your children. I cannot give my heart to that thing. She disgusts me." "Remember your place, Vakar," Darez barked, standing to his full height, glaring at him threateningly. "You are the head of the warriors, but I am leader." Vakar clenched his fists. Stress lines furrowed into his brow, but as he contemplated Darez's words, he had no choice but to acknowledge their truth. His body relaxed. "I ask forgiveness," Vakar remarked, chastened. Darez had to be an example to the whole village. Vakar backed down, but he still needed some convincing. "Erika appeared to us from the skies almost a cycle ago, a gift from the twin stars," Darez insisted. "You could be mated to an avatar for Snowfire. Do you not see the honor given to you?" "What I see is that she is pale, weak, whiny, and fat," retorted Vakar. "And worse, since she is a host for the one called Snowfire, I see that she is a monster." "We can turn that to our advantage," Darez countered. "With her presence, the other tribes and villages will fear us. We can conquer them with hardly a battle. Erika will secure the Ulvar's place as a great people on Algorand. The Ulvar are already a great people, Darez. Not in number or power. We are not even the sole masters of our land. The Custodi are a powerful ally, are they not?" Darez looked down as though contemplating Vakar's words. "Yes," he admitted. "But we should not have to depend on anyone," Vakar nodded. "So, what should we do now?" "You need to put aside your dislike for Erika and ask her to be your mate, then keep her satisfied and begin your family." "I would die before having offspring with her," Vakar said, outraged. Darez backhanded Vakar across the face with his hulking fist, hammering him back into the ground. He then stomped on Vakar's chest, vacating the wind from his lungs. "You are a fool! That female possesses more power than you could ever hope to have, and Kalami tells me that she already favors you," Darez raged. "Any child you have with her will be valued above all Ulvar who have ever lived. Can you not see that? You should want as many offspring with her as possible. You would be securing your own future." Vakar was stunned silent. "Are you, a warrior, going to tell me you are ruled by your own worries?" Darez continued. "You should have no fear." Vakar clambered to his feet, anger still simmering behind his eyes. "I understand your words and purpose, leader," Vakar wheezed, slightly bent forward as he tried to recover from the pounding he'd received. He made himself look up and into Darez's eyes. Vakar's sweat accented his pallor. "But hear me on one thing." "What is it?" "My only fear is that Erika Snowfire will one day be the death of the Ulvar people." Darez had no answer for that. And that concludes the prologue. As you can see, we have a lot to look forward in the coming 5 chapters that I will also be reading in the coming days. I appreciate your time and for joining me, and we'll see you next time.